All right, I just pulled over here to the park. You see my vehicle right here. You see the camera right over there. So I'm about to go do a little quick walk. We'll see who they have waiting for me when I come out of the other side. They have the plane that they had circling my home. They're sending it. I can hear them sending it over this direction. Let's wait right here for a little bit. They literally have nothing better to do with taxpayer resources. Absolutely nothing. United States government. And they're doing all of this because I'm too intelligent. Do you guys understand this? It's not that I've done anything. It's that I'm too intelligent. Imagine that. They have employers blocking me from W-2 work. They don't want me in an office environment. They're blocking me from contract work, working with contractors. They're over here targeting me that way. They're stopping the contractors from contacting me for work. The contractors, they'll send me a request for to do a loan signing with 30 minutes to spare. They'll send me a request and ask me if I'm available and ask me if I want to make $33 to drive an hour. No, I do not. No, thank you. Especially when I have to print 200-page document with on letter and legal size paper that you're giving me 30 minutes to print and then drive to the appointment in rush hour traffic, knowing that there's no way for me to get there. So that's what the United States government has them doing. And then they keep sending me requests for Cumming, Georgia, because they like to harass me with the city Cumming, because there's something mentally wrong. I keep telling you, something mentally wrong with the occult division, the theology group over in the United States government, gang stalking people because of their conscience. Something's wrong with them. Something's absolutely wrong with them. Now, South Africa just opened up the case to re-examine how Steve Biko was murdered in police custody in South Africa because of his conscience thought. He was considered the Black Conscious Movement, and he spoke about black theology. He coined the phrase "black is beautiful." Well, South African government didn't like that, so they beat him to death. They beat his head. They beat him with billy clubs. They had him cuffed. So they had his hands cuffed and his feet cuffed, and they beat him to death. And then they threw him in a jail cell, and then by the time he got to the hospital, he was already dead. Now, the United States government has a pattern and practice of beating people with billy clubs themselves. They have a pattern and practice of beating or dropping people on their head to knock out their head. So this all has to do with their mind, their intelligence. And it's not a coincidence that when the officers are doing it, the police union, who is basically funded by taxpayer resources, came up with their own police union to say that what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. Looks like the government put up some new fencing, some new gate fencing over here. Because they have nothing better to do with their time. So, like I said, the United States government has a pattern of practice of beating people and dropping them on their head. I don't know if you noticed the last probably like 5 or 6 police cases where the United States government basically had the individuals, the police officers, bang or slam people on their head. Now, it's not a coincidence that the police force is doing this, nor is it a coincidence that the police force is being paid to gang stalk and terrorize me with sirens and police cars monitoring me everywhere I go. Not because I'm doing anything, but because of my conscience, because of my intelligence that the government has an issue with. I'm considered a threat because I'm too intelligent. So they interfere in everything that I do. They monitor, hack my phone calls. They're monitoring every email that I send out. I told you the other day they had someone go on to social media, and a person said, "Did you get my message?" And the government had an FBI proxy respond, which is basically the military or the FBI threat center, had them respond. They have them pretend to be civilians, and when they're being contracted to do this work, they had the individual say, "No, she only sees what we allow her to see." First of all, my sight comes from God, number one. So you don't allow me to see anything. Okay, that's their ignorance. Because like I stated, the government is hell-bent on ignorance. So they have a bunch of ignorant individuals gang stalking me that they pay. Because you know the people in the military, they don't come from high schools. They don't give you the GI Bill until you make it out of the military. If you make it out of the military. Because a lot of them they send to war where you get murdered in war, send them to the front line. So I'm pretty sure there's a process of how they're selecting these individuals, which I pretty much already know. I'm just not going to say it on here. But if you watch some of my videos, you can probably put it together yourself. But that's what's been going on. It's been going on for a while that I've been having to deal with, this nonsense by the United States government. Now, they should have something better to do with their time. Maybe feeding the homeless, feeding the kids in school, taking care of kids, making sure they get the proper education. But they don't want them to have the proper education because they want them to be ignorant. Because in the Bible says ignorance is a sin. So the United States government is the Antichrist. They get hell-bent on making individuals ignorant. Now, the person that was murdered the other day, that the president came out and was like, he's a good friend of mine. You had him murdered. So, what are you talking about? He's a good friend of yours. You guys had him murdered. So, he was murdered because of you guys. And then he's like, oh, because of the left. Well, first of all, nobody cares what he was doing because he was a white supremacist. He was mentioning their talking points. That's all he was doing, going with their talking points. So they basically had him shot. And then what they're doing is they're going around showing a picture, pretending that they're trying to locate somebody, which I know they're not trying to locate anybody because they did it. So I want to see who they pay if they actually find somebody, or if they pay to pretend to have someone go through trial, and then, like they do the police officers, once the news dies down, they get the person off. A judge comes in that's pretty much part of the counterintelligence program that's been gang stalking me, being paid by the United States government, taking bribes with their right hand to lie about facts of the case with the co-counsel who the government is involved with on other cases, or if they're not working for the government already directly. So they're basically starting to take out each other. We'll soon find out why the individual was taken out. Maybe the government is trying to shift their narrative, but I think it was done because they were trying to suppress the news that South Africa was reopening the case of the officers murdering Steve Biko in police custody because of his conscience, because of him having more intelligent thought. Now, as I stated before, I was telling you guys before how they was watching me. I was telling you guys before how the government was sending people to watch me, to monitor me. I go for a walk, they send people to walk behind me, to gang stalk me, to surveillance me nonstop, 24/7. This has been going on for a while. So I've been dealing with this nonsense for years. But the point of the story is that you guys need to be aware of what's happening in the United States, what they're doing. They're using civilians that are tied to the hospital. The neighbors next door still banging on the walls, the structured foundation beams, targeting me for the United States government. Those type of individuals, they get paid. They get paid new vehicles, new cars, new homes. They get new loans approved with, very favorable interest rates, if they're even paying an interest rate at all. They get all kind of kickbacks from the government to be in the civilian population, targeting and terrorizing people and monitoring and harassing and persecuting people because of their thought. All of this nonsense that I've been having to deal with for over a decade, longer than that, but over the last decade, is because the government is ticked off that I'm too intelligent. They're ticked off that I was able to look at a spreadsheet and see very easily how the data was all manipulated. And I'm pretty sure they're doing that when they are when they're submitting information to foreign countries about the status of the economy and things like that. I'm pretty sure they're doing the same thing, because on my case, the Jackson National Life Insurance case, they had over 15 newspapers lie and say that the case was settled. Newspapers like the Denver Post, Bloomberg News, the Grio, trying to think some of the other newspapers. It's in my book that I wrote. The book that I wrote recently, it's in that book. And it talks about, it's in that book, and it talks about how the government is has been using these newspapers to lie about disinformation. They have all the newspapers have the same exact talking points. None of them have talking points that are, things that they made up on their own. They have the same exact talking points. Let's see, the guy that was following me yesterday. That's the same exact guy. He just has on a different outfit. The same exact guy that when I came to the park the other day, I told you guys he had dark glasses. That's the same exact individual. So that's why I made sure the camera was definitely facing him this time. Because I told you guys, going forward, we will make sure any person that is following or stalking me, that you see their full body on the camera. Now, the government knows that they're doing this, because they're paying them to do it. Because they see the where I parked, and they see which way I walked, and they'll tell someone, oh, we'll go this way, she went this way. And then they have their little gang stalkers, FBI proxies in the park, where they have them monitoring you. They basically have them monitoring you and stalking you. We outside. We outside. That's my song. That one. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. Uh-uh-uh. Uh-uh-uh. Mm-mm-mm. So they told this lady to come sit out in front of my car with her dog. I told you something wrong with him. Didn't I tell you something wrong with him? I told y'all something wrong with him. Now my car's right there. I told you something wrong with him. Did I tell y'all something wrong with him? Now what they do is they have police officers' wives or military wives come gang stalking people sitting outside their vehicle when they walk through the park. It's the United States government. This is what they do. Now they like to harass me with dogs because the Bible talks about dogs. You can pull up all the Bible verses. You can Google and ask Google which are all the Bible verses where the Bible talks about dogs and what's the purpose and how evil they are. So the United States Occult Division, a theology group, they pay people to sit and gang stalk me with dogs. So that's why I told her to come sit outside. So that's why she's sitting over there on a sand pile. Over there thinking, her thought. So they not harassing her because of her thought. They over here got her gang stalking me because of mine. United States government. Bunch of psychos. I told you they were psychotic. Didn't I tell you they were psychotic? Bunch of psychos. I rebuke you in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Now she waving. I told you she came in to monitor me. And they don't care that they on camera. They don't care about none of that. There's something wrong with them. Mentally wrong with them. So they don't care. They know the government's like, look, she's going to be recording you. Don't be bothered by it. Just wave to the camera. So that's what they do. Because I had to start recording because their nonsense was getting out of control. Out of control. So I had to start recording their nonsense so you guys can actually see it for yourselves. Now, every time I try to go for a peaceful walk, the government is having me stalked and followed by men, by women, by teenagers. It doesn't matter. They have me stalked, harassed, and followed. I'm inside of my home. They're releasing bioweapons and pests through my home that are targeting my sensory and circulatory organs. I reported this to the judges, but the judges are compromised, so of course they don't care. And they're like, well, we don't want to hear about that anymore. And then they make jokes about it because they think it's funny. So this is what the government gets off doing to people, and then they make jokes about it while making rulings. Coordinating with Defense Counsel, where Defense Counsel's like, she just filed a new FOIA request, and the government says, okay, well, the FOIA request. Because they want it on record that they're aware that there's FOIA requests. They just don't plan to do anything about it. And then the FOIA request, the government's now probably about 56 days late of answering FOIA requests. Now, by law, they're supposed to answer FOIA requests within 20 days. The United States government is like, not only are we not going to respond to her DOJ, FBI, and GBI requests, because they had GBI email me that what they're doing is not illegal, and to cease and desist reporting them criminal activities. And then they continued and doubled down on gang stalking, harassing me. So not only are they not responding to none of that, they're also not even responding to FOIA requests. Because what they're doing is they're trying to limit investigating anything because they know it's them involved. So they don't want to investigate themselves. So what they do is they just won't investigate it. They'll deny the investigation. They'll refuse to investigate it. And then they'll double down on the targeted harassment. They'll double down on stalking me with civilians. See right here, Sage? Y'all thought I was playing. So the judge that they added to my case, her name is Sage McKinley Sigler. And in this home right here, they put a Sage sign up before they assigned her as my judge because they knew they were doing this. Now this home right here, 2371, these homes right here, they're paid by the government to ignore the nonstop sirens and the harassment. They're all of them are paid. They get the tax assessor to lie about their property, the value of their property, and then they take that money to use it to rehab their house to sell it for a higher price. That's what all the neighbors did. So the government has, like, told you guys, and I filed this with the court, DeKalb County Tax Authority, which is a client of Sefra Shaw, which is a client, the president's attorney, the current president's attorney, and was his attorney back then. They've been his attorney for years. The law firm's been handling his family matters and his personal business matters, and now any matters that he's coordinating with the United States government. So they knew they were going to do this. They knew they were going to make him president. So, you know, you can say if I knew this person was stalking me. Because I knew I'd seen that plate before. TGRO 295. United States government. And then they have this person. Remember this Hyundai? Every time I leave or come out, they have this Hyundai coming out. Every time I leave or come out, this person they have them coming out. Literally every time that I leave my home and I come back, they have these individuals stalking me. Now they just had Michael Furnick. Was it Michael or someone else? They just had someone pulling behind me. Because they time all of this. When I'm leaving, when I'm coming, they monitor me. All these individuals over here have access to basically what I'm doing. Now here goes Courtney. This is Courtney and the 8-year-old son. This is Michael Furnick. He got on his pit shirt. Look, he got on his pit shirt. And there goes the vehicle. And notice how he tried to drive. Nobody's even doing anything to him. Notice how nobody was even bothering this fool. Like, so why did he even drive? You saw how he tried to drive and block my vehicle off as I was turning the corner? Because I knew they were stalking me. So now he's blocking the access where I can't drive. So he's in the vehicle with his wife. He rolled up on me. What's your problem? I'm calling the police on you. Now, you guys seen how he turned over to the side by my home. Now, I didn't even come this way. I came the other way. So he sped around. He sped around through the complex to yell at me that he's going to call the police on me. Look at them. There's something seriously wrong with them. So basically, that's what they did just now. So they're lying about me bothering them, which I didn't even do anything to them. Look at them. So the government just had them jump out their vehicle and say, we're calling the police on you. We're calling the police on you. What's your problem? What's your problem? We're going to call the police on you. So this is what they do on a daily basis, the United States government. And as you can see, I didn't do anything to the guy because this phone's been rolling the whole time. Thank goodness I had it on the whole time. And they had the female jump out the car They had her jump out the car, targeting, harass me. Now they want to call the police on me because today is 9/11. So as I told you guys, they like to harass me with the number 9/11. So he's over there making a fraudulent police report on me for no reason at all. The United States government has them doing this. And they was having him, I'll show you the video. They had him pull up and park right here by that home. So I was watching him. So I said, you know what, let me go this way. And then he drove this way. He drove the way that I was going and tried to block my vehicle so I couldn't drive. So I was watching him because I was going really slow. He was trying to drive fast because he was trying to hit my vehicle. United States government.